Okay, so let's look at deployment. Really, most people are doing cloud first because cloud works. It's easier to set up. You just basically create your agent, you go to your chat window, it calls it, it's done. And then there are various tools that run within the cloud that enable you to set it up. It's a good way to go. It's probably the most sensible way. If you're going to do your data, you can get control. If you look at something like Microsoft's EULA agreements for privacy, they have some reasonably good privacy controls. They are compliant under most regulations on privacy, and they will protect your data reasonably well. When you go to other systems, let's say DeepSeek, the privacy is a little bit more blurry. But again, China does have a Personal Protection Act, and they do have various regulations because they realize they need to compete in a market so people can trust them. And so cloud deployments are becoming more ubiquitous. It's a cleaner way because you don't have to maintain the infrastructure. You don't have to maintain different pieces. It works well, and it works in most use cases. A hybrid model where you use a sort of cloud and locally or private cloud hosted models suits certain cases where you have data that needs to be protected and you don't want to pass it into a cloud model because you know it's sensitive. It's either IP sensitive to your customers or it's sensitive to your industry, to what your speciality are, or you have regulations about what you can share with that model. So knowing what data you're passing in and what type of information you expect in the LLM to process or the agent to process is when you start looking at your hybrid private cloud or locally hosted. And then on-prem is a low number at the moment because maintaining a very set of servers at home or at your office is a speciality we seem to have lost recently. We don't have many IT service people who can manage a server room anymore. And so on-prem is good for certain things. I had one client and we were doing on-prem, but that's because the GPU costs were far exceeding the cost of maintaining our own GPU hardware processor, but we were processing also medical imaging. And so we had to be able to process 24/7, and our GPU costs were going into the thousands of dollars a month. It's going to peaking at 1,000 a day for some of these things. And buying a server to run that process was a fraction of the price. And so we're able to build up a reasonably good CUDA box that could do that processing. It was locally hosted. It heated up our office quite heavily, but it actually made practical sense in that situation. But again, it's a special case. Any questions on deployment before I go on? Okay, I'll keep moving through.
Yeah, if you could, I think just for the audience sake, if you could actually explain the on-prem side of it a bit, because not many people are very familiar or comfortable with that idea. So I know you have done a lot of experimentation around it, doing LLMs on your laptop. So
yeah, no, I run a couple of my own personal setup is I have a few repurposed laptops to run agents at home. And so I have a 6 or 7 agent orchestration that does research for me. And that runs on all my old laptops. And so depending what I'm running, they're running locally hosted models and it makes it good. The on-prem is getting the hardware, it's maintaining the hardware, it's maintaining the update. So it's, again, it's bringing back a server room into your organization. There are more devices coming out. Lenovo produce what amounts to an LLM in a box machine, which I think is about $5,000 USD at the moment, which is a reasonably powerful machine that can run actually a 300 billion parameter model. I'm looking forward to trying to get my hands on one in the next 6 months so I can test it out, or whatever the best breed at that time is, because that solves some of the building model things out, and it solves some of your protection, or if you actually want to build your own LLMs, having these machines gives you the power to, it saves some of your cost. It doesn't save everything, but again, it's a cost equation. What are you prepared to pay for? What do you need? What is the privacy? But when you start doing on-prem, you're talking about having a team dedicated to maintaining computers and servers, as well as a team who know how to set up and tune those machines to work And also you need a set of integration people who know how to get the data from the cloud into those machines to do the work properly. So it's quite a hefty ask, but it does have some benefits in some situations, which is why it's been mentioned in here.